Oh, hello and welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath, and we were talking about the brand new 4K release of A Christmas Story from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. This is a 4K restoration. Does it top previous Blu-ray editions of A Christmas Story? Spoilers, yes, it does. It's a leap ahead. But we're going to talk about the movie, and then we'll talk about the tech specs. I always like to lead with a movie review in my actual movie review coverage. I know everybody's seen A Christmas Story, but it's an interesting movie, right? Because it's a Christmas classic, but it wasn't always a Christmas classic. This is a movie that was modestly, it was a modest success at the box office in 1983, and it has become this. First, it was a cult classic. This is the interesting thing about this movie. Modest success becomes a cult classic, then just becomes a classic. Like, that's an interesting thing, how our society, familiarity creates a classic out of something. So it was only when it started to play on television all the time during Christmas. It was nonstop at Christmas time. And it just became a part of the tradition in the 90s and the 2000s. And now we've got a generation, 2 generations of people that have just grown up with this movie around all the time. And it's just become a classic. The same thing with It's a Wonderful Life. Now, I've got a dedicated review. I got a video about It's a Wonderful Life. It's a hot take. People are like, I can't believe you. Same thing with that movie. Modest success when it was released. And it's only through familiarity, because it's on television all the time, that it becomes this classic that people love so much. A Christmas Story it's great, right? How do you review A Christmas Story? We all know the movie. It's endlessly quotable. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. My favorite is, it was so poisoning. That's my favorite. I like to think that Darren McGavin is also Kolchak the Night Stalker in this movie, in that when he's complaining about the bumpuses or whatever, he's come in from a night of like hunting vampires or whatever, that's what I like to think, is this is the same character. Because Darren McGavin was always just Darren McGavin. He's never not, that guy. It's a major award! He's never not that guy. Darren McGavin just brings himself to the table. But it's such a fun movie. It's got this real nostalgia thing to it. But that's this nostalgia. That's what's gonna lead us into our tech talk here. Because this is a movie that it's concerned with the past, right? It's concerned with, like, the whole movie is shot in the soft focus style, as if it was but a memory. A memory of, like, the 40s. With Red Ryder and that BB gun, and the little orphan Annie decoder ring, and the Wizard of Oz. I like the Wizard of Oz. I like Santa. So it's all like a memory, and so it's got this real hazy kind of a thing, and it's just never looked good on home media, because how could it? It's blurry. It's a blurry, soft movie. So I've had multiple versions of this movie going back to the VHS days, and the 4K, the new 4K, I'm like, whoa. Now it's still not like, compared to other movies from 1983, right? It's still not as sharp as those. It's always going to be a soft focus, it's a little bit hazy. It's always going to be that way. That's how it was shot. But there is more detail, more sharpness, more grain than ever before for this movie. This is the new, here, let me hold it so I can hit you guys in the face with it. This is the new definitive presentation of A Christmas Story. There is no comparison really to previous editions. The HDR is a nice added layer here, and I notice it with like the reds. At the beginning of the movie, he's going through a catalog that's red, and it's like, oh, that is so red. That is so red, bro, so red. Then there's also like he walks by the stairs and there's like glowing gold. I mean, it's good. Really, you see what it brings out, what the new HDR color timing does for the movie is brings out the warmth of the film. It brings out the set designs, and it brings out the choices that were made on the film to make it look a certain way that may have been hidden in previous home media editions because of that hazy shade of winter. So this is great, right? I think that it's great. I want to set level expectations. And I'm also going to say, like, briefly, there are no screenshots here. I don't do screenshots. I don't trust screenshots. When I see screenshots on YouTube, I'm like, no. You can't do screenshots on YouTube accurately because of all the compression. I say this all the time. Don't trust screenshots on YouTube. There is a real nice glow to this movie, but I want you to have reasonable expectations. It's like your eyes. You're not going to be like that character at the end of the Raiders of the Lost Ark where his face melts off. That's just not reality for this movie. It's a nice step up for what it is. But the good news is that's true to the vision of A Christmas Story. That's what it's supposed to be. More good news is that the Blu-ray that's included here. So we've got here. We've got the slipcover here that I just dropped on the floor. We've got 4K. Hold on. This is the 4K, which is red, and the Blu-ray is green, which I like. We got a whole red and green thing going on. The Blu-ray is the new transfer. It's the new 4K restoration, but of course, it's been downsampled down to 2K. You know, that 4K restoration is now on a 1080p transfer. So you're losing most of the benefits, and actually even doing a side-by-side comparison here, which I did. I'm like, oh, there's so much more detail. The Blu-ray is still super hazy. It's still got that blurry thing going on. Like someone's been smoking in the house and then they opened up the curtains and the sunlight's coming in. Like that's how this movie looks. But it's less that on the 4K. So there's more continued good news. There's a lot of good news in this review, right? Is that there's a lot of special features. Actually, I think every special feature that exists for this movie has been carried over. So the commentary with Peter Billingsley and Bob Clark. By the way, Bob Clark, what a director. We should talk about his career one day. Horror, like all different genres. Like you can't really nobody puts Bob Clark in a box. That's on the 4K and on the Blu-ray. There was another Christmas Story. But by the way, do we talk about the sequel? I never watched this movie, and I was like, yeah, but what happens later when he's grown up? Probably not going to ever watch that movie. Just because it exists doesn't mean I have to watch it. This is what I'm going to stick with, I think. But anyway, so there's the reunion feature. So another Christmas Story. It's like 19 minutes, and it's like a lot of the gang back together as adults. But it was shot years ago. The History of the Red Ryder BB gun. Get a Leg Up, which is about the lamp. The script pages, they go to the house. See, there are special features that are here that were only on a 2-disc steelbook edition of this movie. And then, look, this is what Warner Brothers does, and this is what frustrates people, is that they will release special features on certain editions, and then they don't carry them over to all the other editions. But they're here. Again, we've talked about some of this stuff in the past. Warner Brothers dropping special features or dropping like Giant is the one, James Dean, Rock Hudson, Liz Taylor. So Giant comes out on 4K. No Blu-ray, no special features. It's just the movie. So this is great because we want to say we bought this movie for the last time. And maybe that's why they don't do it, because they don't want us to buy this for the last time. But this does feel like this is probably the last time you're going to need to buy A Christmas Story, because it's got all these special features. The special feature on the house is great. I got to visit the house in 2021, I guess it was. It's in Cleveland, and there it is. I went with my buddy Josh Jebkuga. We hit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then we went to the Christmas Story house, buddy. There's a great museum across the street with patches that were designed by a Cereal at Midnight supporter. You can get patches of the images from the movie for that museum, designed by a Cereal at Midnight Patreon supporter. Isn't that it's a small world, man? So there's a lot of stuff here. To my knowledge, every special feature is included in this release. And it looks better than the previous Blu-ray. And the 4K is the best yet. So I feel really good saying that these are the droids you're looking for. If you don't have A Christmas Story at all, please get this edition, because you're getting a better Blu-ray transfer. And if you're not 4K capable now, you will be one day. Technology becomes cheaper over time. That's how technology advances. It just becomes the new standard. And your next TV is probably going to be a 4K TV. That might actually be all that there is when you go shopping for one. And you'll have this on your shelf. And if you are 4K capable right now and you're on the fence about, do I upgrade? Yeah, go ahead. I'm giving you the all clear to upgrade this movie to 4K, because it is a noticeable bump. I think you're going to like, what's the Men's Warehouse? You're going to like the way you look. You're going to like the way it looks. A lot of weird asides in this review, but I really am excited about this new presentation of A Christmas Story. It's not face-meltingly revelatory, but it is a nice, healthy upgrade over everything we've had so far. What do you guys think about the cover art? It's another Photoshoppy kind of a montage from Warner Brothers. Is it an improvement over this? Is it a step back from this? How does it compare to the original poster art? These are things that I like to think about. These are the things that keep me up at night. Guys, that's going to do it for this review of A Christmas Story. I'll put links in the description where you can purchase this, and you'll be kicking back a few pennies to Cereal at Midnight and getting yourself something cool in the process. So, in the meantime, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Let me know what you think about this movie. What's your tradition with this movie? Who saw this in the theater? That's what I want to know. Did anybody see this in the theater? And were you like, wow, it's so blurry. It's so hazy. It's like someone smoked in the theater. That's what I want to know. Guys, thanks so much. Take care. Until next time, don't shoot your eye out, kid.